Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Listing Agent Accelerator by Dark Horse Commercial. We are bringing you yet another episode of podcast goodness on this amazing day. So what we're going to be going into today is kind of how you can analyze your business to get immediate results quicker, right? So when you get done with today's episode, you're going to be able to take a look at your business objectively and see if it's one of three areas you need to fix, and more importantly, how to fix them. Stick around, folks. Hey, I'm Christian Peter, owner of Dark Horse Commercial and creator of the Listing Agent Accelerator by Dark Horse Commercial. What we go into is we help folks every single day operate their business better and make more money in shorter amount of time, right? We help you work smarter, not harder. And today, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about how you can analyze your business to fix what the potential problems are, the potential constraints are, and that allow you to move forward faster. Okay, so stick around and we're going to get into some really important stuff. Make sure you stay till the end because I'm going to be dropping some value bombs at the very, very end. Okay, so again, what I want to go into is show you how to look at your business through three different lenses and what those lenses are, and then how to make changes that are appropriate. But first, I want to get into a little bit of the theory. Okay. When I say the theory, I mean, we don't need to get into some deep textbook discussion, but there's a theory called the theory of constraints, in which states the theory of constraints is that in any given system, okay, the system can only grow as big as the smallest bottleneck. Okay. So if you're looking at a system, in this case, a business, because a business is nothing more than a process. If you're looking at a business and you're looking at everything is great in step 1, step 2, but step 3 is kind of choked down, and then step 4 and step 5 are working well, what you can do is if you make the smallest adjustment to step 3 and you allow it to open up a bottleneck, the whole business can increase. Now, how does that pertain to commercial real estate brokerage? If you apply the theory of constraints to it, what you'll notice is if you analyze your business objectively and then you fix the smallest bottleneck, okay, you're going to have the largest result possible. Okay. Gary Keller talks about a concept and like basically like, what's the one thing? What's the one thing that if you changed it, you'd see the maximum result? The theory of constraints very much plays, hand in hand with that, in the sense that if you look at the process of your business, fixing the smallest bottlenecks will yield you the largest result. Now, also, the amount of time spent on anything else in your business other than fixing that bottleneck is nothing more than a waste of time. So very, very important to understand how to analyze your business, and the fact that you should be dedicating 100% of your efforts to fixing that bottleneck, because oftentimes businesses can increase by 50%. They can double. I watched my business triple in a 2-year period by fixing the smallest bottleneck. Okay, so let's talk about that first, and let's kind of break it down a little bit. Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to understand that business is a process. Okay, the listing business is nothing more than finding people that are looking to sell, reaching out to them, getting listing appointments, taking listings, learning how to what I call manage your listings, right? Listing management, very, very important. Getting them under contract and selling them. It's very, very simple. Depending on how you want to look at it, it's 5 or 6 steps. Okay. Now, what most people find, okay, is that 2/3 of the work is done up front before taking the listing. In fact, most people, if you were to give them a listing, someone that raised their hand and said, yes, I'm ready, willing, and able to sell, and you gave them a signed listing agreement and allow them to take the property to market, most people could figure out a way to get it sold. Okay. So suffice to say, that's not the most important part of the business, right? You basically have the front 2/3 is like the prospecting, and the last third is what we call fulfillment. Okay. Fulfillment's the easy part. A monkey could do that, right? In terms of like, you train somebody to do the same thing over and over again, they can figure it out, right? But the part that's most nuanced and is not only an art, but also a science, right, is going to be the prospecting portion, the lead generation portion. And I will put my bottom dollar to say that 99% of agents, that lead generation is their hardest thing that they're feeling with. In fact, at home, all right, be honest with yourself and raise your hand, whether you're listening in your car or you're listening at home, be honest with yourself. If you could fix lead generation and have an unlimited supply of leads in your business, would that increase your business? Could you see yourself increasing by 50%, by doubling, 150%, maybe tripling, right? So if for most people, for the vast majority of agents, if they're only able to fix the lead generation part of their business, that would lead them to the most amount of success. Okay. Now there's a few pieces to it. Okay. So the first thing you do is finding who to reach out to. Okay. If you're reaching out to the wrong people, okay, the first step of the process is going to be blown out. Because if you're reaching out to somebody, for instance, we talk all the time about farming, right? And how farming just doesn't work. And when I say farming, I mean taking a little rectangle, learning about every lease deal and working with every buyer, working with every seller. That's old school, guys. Okay. That is old school. That's pre-internet. That's when information was scarce and you had to go and get to meet every single person and so forth. There wasn't, CoStar in abundance. LoopNet wasn't what it was, or no Crexi, that sort of thing. So information was scarce. So you had to be boots on the ground to learn that information. Now in a 20 or 30 page report from CoStar, you can go through it in a half an hour or so on your lunch break. You can get pretty familiar with everything that's going on in a certain submarket. So what I say to that is farming is dead. Write that down in capital letters. Farming is dead. Now, instead of farming, we need to go after the people that are the most highly leveraged. What do I mean by that? So in the first step of the process is finding the right people. You want to go after the people that you have the highest probability of selling or being able to assist, right? So think of it this way. In my market here in Miami, right, there's a 4% absorption rate for small bay industrial, okay, which means there's only a 4% chance that any one given property is going to sell in that particular year. If you work it backwards, it also means that the average property is held for 25 years, 100 divided by 4%, right? Very simple. So if knowing that the average property only changes hands every 25 years, what that means is if you were farming, you're going to be sitting and waiting a very, very long time for Mr. Smith at 123 Main Street LLC to sell if the average property only sells every 25 years. So doesn't it stand to reason that in commercial real estate, that you need to be a little bit more strategic? You need to go after people that are more highly leveraged. And I don't mean financially leveraged. I mean higher probability of selling in any given year. Okay. So very, very important. You need to be going after the right people. That's the first step of your process. The next step of your process is, are you getting quality data on them? Because if you're not getting 60, 70% accurate data and you're just trying to go through whatever free means that you have, or maybe your company has a free software that you're utilizing, okay, don't be cheap with your data, okay? The most important, most expensive commodity that you utilize on a daily basis is your time, okay? If you want to make $200,000 a year, most people work 2,000 hours a year, 200,000 divided by 2,000, your time is worth no less than $100 an hour. If you want to make $400,000 this year, 400,000 divided by 2,000 is $200 an hour. So you cannot afford to be doing anything that's less than $200 an hour. How does that apply to prospecting? In prospecting, if you are utilizing bad data, every hour that you dial on bad data, it's costing you $200. Okay, so don't skimp on, oh, well, my company gives this to us for free. Pay a premium for the highest quality information. Okay, your future self will thank you. It's got to be 60, even 70% better. I know of some lead sources that are 70+% accurate, which is about the best you're going to get. Do yourself a favor and make sure that part of the process is solid. Okay. So again, know who to go after. Step number 2, make sure that when you're going after them to reach out to them, you're using the highest quality data. Okay. The next step of the process is to make sure that you know why you're reaching out to them. You know that you're utilizing either some sort of conversational framework or a script so you can get the same result each and every time. Very important. If you have a different conversation with every person, you're never going to be able to practice the conversational flow. Whereas if you use a framework or a script, you'll very quickly be able to understand, okay, usually when I ask this question, it's answered in 1, 2, 3, 4 ways, so you know what to say when they say any of the expected outcomes. Okay. Very, very important. Next step of the process is when you get to the listing presentation, knowing what to say. Okay. Do you have a structured listing presentation? Okay. If any of these pieces of your puzzle are weak, the entire process is going to be weak. Start thinking to yourself, what are the potential bottlenecks? Is it who I'm going after? Is it the research that I'm using to find them? Is it what I'm saying on the phone to get the listing presentation? Do I have a scripted listing presentation so that when I get in front of them, I have delivered it over and over again and I'm polished and I sound professional and I know how to guide the conversation. Don't forget, folks, when you are having a conversation with somebody that you have had over and over again, you can predict where it's going to go. So you can already have the answers at the tip of your tongue, as opposed to just kind of leaving it up to chance. Very, very important. And then finally, the last part of the process that we go through is getting these properties marketed properly and under contract. Okay. So if you analyze your business, take a deep, deep look between those 5 or 6 steps right there. Okay. And figure out which is the weakest part of your process. Maybe it's knowing who to reach out to. Maybe it's the phone numbers you're using. Maybe you're not doing enough dials. Maybe you don't have the right scripts to get people on the phone and to get a meeting booked. Maybe you don't have a listing presentation. Start thinking about this. Okay, folks? All right. So that's the process. Okay. Whenever we're looking at our business and we're looking to kind of analyze it and see what is the most important, there's 3 areas. Okay. There's three different lenses to look through it. It's number 1 is going to be your process. Okay. Number 2 is going to be your skills. And number 3 is going to be your mindset. Okay. If you don't have the right process, good luck. You can have the best mindset. You can have the best skills. But if you don't have the right process, you're going to be aiming your efforts and your good mindset in the wrong direction. Okay. If you do, so you have to have all 3 of these lined up, kind of like like when you're in high school, when you have those combination locks on your locker, such and such turns to the right, 2 turns to the left, 1 turn to the right, and it pops open. If you get any one of those wrong, you're not going to get the intended result. Okay. So next step we're going to talk about is the skills. Okay. Do you have the conversational skills in order to be able to turn a stranger into a booked appointment in 90 seconds or less? Okay. Do you have the skills to list a property and market it properly? And have you done the necessary work so that you have a high probability of getting it sold? Do you have a good process in terms of marketing? Okay. Do you have a good process in terms of negotiating, in terms of what to do when you come to an impasse, how to present offers to sellers, to buyers, and so forth, right? There is an absolute art into getting 2 people that to come to the middle, in the middle of the table, and both feel like they have won something. There's an absolute art to it. Okay. So very, very important to understand. These are all skills. Negotiation skills you need to have. Marketing skills you need to have. You need to have conversational skills, very important. And you need to also have scripting and tonality. You have to have the skills of being able to deliver and do it in a quick place, in a quick manner when you're prospecting to folks. Okay. Very, very important. So we already discussed the process and how important that is and how all pieces need to be lined up. And then the weakest part will determine where you need to put your energy first. Okay. That's number 1. Number 2 is going to be your skills. If you don't have your conversational skills up, you don't have your marketing skills up, you don't have, your prospecting skills up, you need to get those dialed in. And then finally, and oftentimes the most overlooked, is going to be your mindset. Okay. You have to believe that nobody is better than you at selling properties. You have to believe in your heart of hearts that there is absolutely no competition. And I'll invite you to a framework, a mental framework that might help you. Okay. How many yous are there? There's only one you, right? You are your own personal brand. In this business, yes, we have companies, and yes, we are affiliated with a brand or a logo or a franchise or what have you. But realistically speaking, people don't do business with the logo on the business card. They do business with the person standing in front of them. They do business with the friendly voice on the phone. They do business with the person that they know, like, and trust to get the job done. So you need to 100% fully believe that you are the right man or woman for the job. Very, very important. I can't tell you how many of my students come to me and they almost feel as if, oh, so-and-so can do it better. So-and-so can better. You have to start with belief, right? There was a runner in the 1956, I think it was, Roger Bannister, and he was the first person to break the 4-minute mile. People thought it was impossible before the mid 1950s. And then once he broke it, within a few months, other runners started breaking it. Why? Not because human beings were any more developed or any faster, right? But once he proved that he shattered the belief that it couldn't be done, he proved that the impossible was possible, then others started believing, others started having the same success. So similarly, you have to think, you have to believe that you are the number 1 person for the job. Make sense so far, folks? Okay. Very, very important. It all begins with you. It begins with your own self-belief and believing that you're going to will this into action and that you're going to take care of this property and take it to market and get it sold. Because if you don't believe it, you're never going to transfer that belief to the seller. Okay. Very, very important. So again, the three lenses, if you want to improve your business this year, you want to double your business, you want to triple your business in the next year or 2 years, okay? You need to, number one, have the right process. Whatever is broken in the process, give 100% of your attention to the weakest part, whether it's who to reach out to, what to say it, how to present, or how to market your listings. Whichever step is the weakest, put 100% on your efforts into fixing that, because the law of constraint says the smallest bottleneck is going to choke down the entire system. You open that bottleneck, and guess what? I have one of my students, I just was on a conversation with him yesterday. He said, man, I've had 8 meetings and I've taken 2 listings in 8 meetings. I said, man, that's fantastic. I said, 1 out of every 4 people you speak to, you get a listing from. He's like, yeah. He's like, you know what he said? He connected the dots. He said, now all I have to do is take more listing or more meetings, right? So what that means is he figured out what his constraint was. Okay. He figured out that he converts well once he gets to listings, once he gets in front of people. So now all he has to do is put more in the top of the funnel, which means reaching out to more people, getting a hold of more people, and booking more appointments. Because once he's in an appointment, 1 out of 4 people is going to give him a listing. Very, very important. Okay. So find that weak spot in your business and you'll be able to fix it and then move along so to the next thing, because you're always fixing bottlenecks, but the more bottlenecks that you fix, you can fix 3 or 4 in a year's time, right? The second you fix it, you'll know it and your business will expand. And then you find the next weakest link and you expand that and on and on and on. And next thing you know, you have the 5 or 6 pieces really, really lined up. And so that you have a very, very efficient business that you can create repeatable, consistent results from in the form of commissions. Okay. So remember, folks, as a review, number 1, make sure you have your process, you have it dialed in, and you fix the weak spots. Number 2, make sure that you have the right skills, whether it's your prospecting skills, whether it's your research skills, whether it's your presenting skills, whether it's your negotiation or your marketing skills, make sure they're dialed in. Very, very important. Be very, very honest with yourself. What of those you feel is the weakest, and go with 100% effort into fixing that skill. Okay. And then finally, the mindset. Mindset is so important. No one will give you listings. No one will believe in you until you believe in yourself. Super duper important. Okay. I always try to give a little bit of value on these things every day, folks. If you want to learn a little bit more, if you've gotten value out of this, go ahead and comment below. Okay. Whether you're watching this on YouTube or watching it on Spotify, go ahead and like and follow. Okay. If you've gotten a special takeaway, go ahead and put that in the comments as well. And if you'd really like to understand this deeper and understand it a little bit further, do me a favor and just reach out in the comments. Or go to www.commercialsalesforagents.com. That's our Facebook group, and reach out to somebody on our team there, and they'll be happy to book you on a call so we can discuss, with someone from our team, how we might be able to help you. If you're looking to become a listing agent on the commercial side of the business, we can help you get there way faster than most people can do it on their own. So the motto of our company is getting you where you're going faster. So if you want to, over the next 6 months, become a amazing commercial listing agent, taking between 2 and 4 listings a month, the fastest way to get there is working with us. Okay. So go ahead and reach out to us, www.commercialsalesforagents.com. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. We'll be happy to answer them for you. But we look forward to seeing you. Go ahead. Like I said, if you've got value out of this, go ahead and be sure to like and subscribe, and put any takeaways in the comments below that you have from today's podcast. Look forward to seeing you in the next one, folks. Talk to you soon.